they do not have that option to just go work their face off somewhere and have a pension or retire or even make enough to make a living on their own. It's just not really feasible. It's not too many jobs and industries, and that's because we're not independent of a country anymore.
Turning nothing to something, getting them back like the map of instructions. No, we not doing dysfunction. Talented black, no, we be on our functions. Ain't no need for introduction. You, my friend, take a seat and discuss it.
This episode is sponsored by Purify Me. Purify Me products are 100% natural. They have a collection of body butters and hair oils. If you're looking to have smoother and softer skin, healthier hair, or looking to fix damaged hair, please visit purifymeproducts.com.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Discussion with a Friend podcast, episode 24. We got a very special one for you guys today. Going to be discussing various topics on capitalism, if we believe the American dream is still alive, and our opinions on why or why not we believe that. So as usual, we got our typical hosts. We got Jay Allen, we got Jay Cash in here, we got Rodney in here. We're going to break it down. We want you guys to break it down with us, and let's hop right into it. So I'm gonna ask y'all straight up, man. We gonna
First off, fellas. We can't keep forgetting this. We got to make sure that y'all fans and friends and family, make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel. Y'all like our videos and y'all turn on the notifications. Do not forget that because we have 1,000+ likes on Facebook. They're not transferring over to YouTube yet, but they will soon. So just don't forget, subscribe, like our video, and turn on your notifications. Anyways, get back to it, bro.
bet. All right. So straight up, guys, how do we feel about the American dream? I can tell you, I believe the American dream is dying. And I can state in several ways. But before I go into my long-winded spiel, I'm gonna ask you straight up, Jay. Let's start with you. How do you feel about the American dream today? Is it dead or is it alive?
First off, it would really depend on what your definition of the American dream is. My definition of the American dream is basically any person being able to attain their version of success. So if you are a person that believes in health and you have a healthy body, that could be your American dream. If you're somebody that believes that you want to be a millionaire and you become a millionaire, that's your American dream. Or you have the same opportunity and chances as majority of Americans to become a millionaire. And personally, I think that still does exist. There's nothing that I would say that's a roadblock that wasn't a roadblock before. We actually have more than what our parents had. We have more ways to make money, and we have more ways to do things.
Okay. So I'm gonna just take a wild guess and say you attribute that to what, the internet?
What?
Being a big factor of why you feel like we have more access, more ways to do things to fulfill what our own lives what we project our lives to be.
Evolution, not just the internet. I mean, everything has changed. Like, we have battery-packed cars. They didn't have that. We have the internet. We have social media. We have technology that would have never been able to get other people, other entrepreneurs to even do things. For example, like blue light glasses. That's something that's real simple, but that wasn't around 40 years ago. And that's a market right there in itself. People buy blue light glasses all the time to help with their eyes and their vision when it comes to the computer screen. That's probably not the best example, but that is an example of things in evolution that has occurred that has made it easier for entrepreneurs and easier for people to adjust. So I would say, quite honestly, back in the day, if your mom was a plumber, your mom can still be a plumber right now. If your mom was a teacher, she can still be a teacher right now. If your mom was a taxi driver, now she could be an Uber driver, and she's actually more independent and she's more in charge of her wages than what she would be if she was just a taxi driver at one location, because now she can drive for 100 amounts of people a day. So, I mean, everything that was available before, it's still available now, but we have even more. So the American dream, it's still possible. If you have a certain vision, you have a certain goal, and you want to attain something, the American dream is basically you being able to attain it if you work hard enough to attain it. And that is still true. The only difference in why some people may think that the American dream does not exist anymore is because we don't have the same work ethic as our parents. And that's not the American dream. That has to do with a lot of other things and how everybody in society thinks that equality is the new norm, that's the American dream, is everybody being equal, but that's never going to happen. That shouldn't happen. Some people deserve more because some people work harder. Some people deserve more because they went to school longer and they did this, they did that. So the American dream to me still exists.
I'm about that. Okay. Rod, what you
Okay.
think, man?
So I'm gonna go a little bit overarching. So my definition of the American dream is peace through freedom, whether that's monetarily in your finances, spiritually or mentally in your thinking, or physically in your actions. That's for you to decide. And then the quote from Malcolm X is, "You can't separate peace from freedom because no one can be at peace unless he has his freedom." So what I mean by that is, ultimately all those things that you might want or you're working towards goals, whether it's money, whether it's certain thing, it's going to bring you what? It's going to bring you peace. It's going to bring you freedom. It's going to bring you comfortability. So that's, I think, what everybody is chasing at the end of the day, some kind of freedom. And like Jaquan is saying, it looks different for everybody. Some people, like I'm saying, monetarily through their finances, that is the American dream, to be able to go out and buy a Ferrari, a Lambo, whatever it is they want, don't have to worry about money. That's their dream. Some people, their dream is to live a healthy lifestyle. That you get people that are like vegan or, vegetarian, plant-based. They just feel like eating very clean and healthy and, in tune with their spirituality and, energy and whatnot. That's freedom to them, to be able to do that and to be able to harness those kind of things for themselves. Some people, it means in a literal sense, freedom. Especially we're talking about a country that has dealt heavily with slavery and putting people down and oppression. So freedom for them really looks like being free, not, being controlled by somebody or put down by a society. If you're talking about like a race or certain religion or something, that's freedom to them. So it looks different for everybody, but just to have a quick rebuttal of what you were saying, Jaquan, you were saying that it's about work ethic, and it's about that this generation now, the work ethic isn't the same as their parents, and almost like we have more opportunities now, which I will agree with, because obviously evolution and over time things get built upon. People had to walk so we could run. But the saying, the rich get richer, what's the other side of that? I don't think the poor get richer. So they got to be doing something. They got to be getting poorer. And I feel like now we're in the age where the middle class, we're so reliant on the middle class, and it's getting to the point where it's starting to fall in. The middle class is not really able to keep up with the inflation.
Agreed.
As far as we're talking about capitalism and, being able to buy and afford these things. So it's looking a little different. But if you're in that 1% or you've already had like generational wealth, it's a great time to be alive for you, because there's so many different things. If we're talking about like crypto and all these other digital currency and all this other stuff, stocks and all this NFT, it's a great time, especially because not only do you already have a head start with your wealth, you have a head start with your knowledge, the education and the knowledge and awareness that you would have being from somebody that has a lot of wealth or a family like that. It's already a huge advantage over anybody else that's, they might not even have a computer or something. And that's what I'm saying. There's people now, even with all the stuff that we have and all this other opportunity, that still don't have those kind of things. So I feel like it would be worse now to be poor in this day and age than it would back then, because, there's so much like, it's so lopsided now between the rich and the poor, versus back then, yeah, it was lopsided, but you could really probably pull yourself up by your bootstraps if you, did enough work. I don't think that's very feasible these days.
I think you could still pick yourself up by the bootstraps, but I do agree with a lot of the stuff that you said, because I mean the rich are getting richer, and it does seem like the poor is getting poorer. Although for millennials, like we actually do make a decent amount of money and a decent amount of living. But to go back to like the American dream, the overall question, I think some people get things confused with what the American dream actually is and
I agree.
what equality actually is. So the American dream is the equality of opportunity. It's not the equality of outcome. So do you have the same opportunities that I have? Which is actually true. We do all have the same opportunities. Now, will we have the same outcome? Not necessarily.
We don't have the same starting point.
That's correct. But the opportunities are still there.
They there.
That's why
They
it's
there.
it's the equality of opportunity, not the equality of outcome. And a lot of people, they hold on to the equality of outcome, and especially in this generation, everybody wants to have $80,000 that they think everybody on the planet should be this certain amount of money. Everybody on the planet should have this. Everybody on the planet should have that. That's just not reality in life. Yeah, it's I don't believe in that. I'm not one of those people that think that you should tax the richer. And the reason why I don't believe that is because if they're making a decent amount of money and they're doing things by, for example, let's use Apple. If you tax Steve Cook and everybody that works over there, you know what they're gonna do? Instead of, making the equality opportunity for us, they're gonna change the outcome. Their outcome's gonna change by they're gonna move everything to China. So there's reasons why the rich get taxed less sometimes. It's because they bring a lot more jobs. Now, should they be paying more? Realistically, yes. But there's reasons behind why they don't. And a lot of people act like rich people are just rich. They're not supplying us jobs. They're not bringing more money into the actual government, but they're doing all these type of things. So I once again, I agree about the poor thing, that people are getting poorer, but
some rich people are just rich. I've just got to say that.
Yeah, of course you got the outliers.
There's exceptions to everything. That's true, but I'm speaking like for like the overall class of people. Now, nobody should have $100 billion. Like that's things that we can definitely say. But who am I to take your money away from you? I don't believe in that, because we all have the equality opportunity. You just found a way to have a different outcome than I have. And
That's true.
I think so much with millennials, it is based off of work ethic, because we were taught when we were younger, you get bust, bro. You get destroyed in football or basketball. You're still great. Blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. So you start thinking when you get older, you're still great. When you're not doing well, you're still good. But that's the worst thing you can tell somebody.
You deserve a trophy.
You deserve a trophy. Everything going to be all right, but it's not.
So
you have to have this certain type of work ethic and this certain type of, basically there's a quote that says, either you raise your expectations, you raise your work ethic to meet your expectations, or you lower your expectations to meet your work ethic. And a lot of people got high expectations with terrible work ethic. So I think the American dream is still there if you want it to be there. It's just that millennials specifically, they struggle with actually having the work ethic to achieve their version of the American dream.
Agreed. So what's funny about what you guys had to say? I had a lot of different thoughts before you guys spoke, and just from me being open-minded, a lot of those thoughts actually have taken some time to grow, just in that short period of time, to think and look from a different lens. Like, for taking a perspective, with you talking about how taxes go with the rich and how that power play goes, that if the rich are being taxed and they're not being looked at as the asset that they are to our country, a company like Apple that does supply a lot of jobs, that does put a lot of sight on America's tech, because it's primarily known as tech that's here in the States. That is something that we don't take too much time to look at before we say tax the rich. Well, some of us. I'm gonna speak only on some people's behalf, and then on Rod's part too, speaking more so that what I like what you said is that if the rich getting richer, what are the poor doing? And I immediately think, if you're not getting money, you getting poor, because life is always going to cost. Every day I wake up, I feel like it costs to wake up, damn near. It's like, it's like, God damn. But so it'd be like that sometimes. And if you really, really aren't getting to what you need to do in your financial responsibilities, not to say that you got to be Bill Gates, but right. you are digressing as far as financially. So I'll give you my perspective on the American dream, and it's a little bit, I would say, miscued from most people's perspective of what they would say the American dream is. So mine speaks to self-efficiency, and what I mean by that is that the American dream to me is the belief that we as a people, and not just individually, but as a people, can be self-efficient. Now, there's some individuals I believe are outliers that I believe do have some skill or form of self-efficiency. Elon Musk is a great example for me that comes to mind with what he's able to do, where he's able to take his transition to his company, his life, and the lifestyle he wants. Now, when I speak on that, on the surface, it would seem like, well, if we all get the same starting point and we can all get to any type of outcome, everyone
We
has
don't.
equal.
Let me correct you. We don't all get the same starting point. We all get the same opportunity, but the same starting point.
Excuse me. Correct. Same opportunity. Right? I think that's where I meant to speak from. Thank you.
Yeah.
So if we're getting the same opportunities, correction, that was a good correction too. Then what's your excuse for not getting to a certain level if that is your mental standard or what you want to achieve? You got to bring the work behind that, like people like Elon Musk have. Now, I kind of go underneath that layer where I say, okay, that's one aspect of it. But my issue of why I believe the American dream is dying, I'm not going to say dead, but dying, is more so the fact that we're working hard to attain our financial dreams, our independent dreams, what are spiritual dreams, whatever like your aspirations are in life. But our reward is lesser than those that came before us, in my belief, because of the fact that we own less of what we are as a country. Our money is being taxed in so many different ways and then paying off interest to people that aren't even part of what makes America America. And it's like we're slowly losing ownership of America. And if our dollar isn't owned by Americans, then what is the American dream? Isn't it somebody else's dream at that point? And to get even further into that, if I become a millionaire next year, and does my $1 million mean the same if inflation is what it's supposed to be next year versus 20 years ago? And people will argue, well, like, looking at what you're able to do with $1 million in today's age with the opportunities of crypto, NFTs, being able to have an online presence in business. But to me, there's no amount of money you can make on earth that is going to be enough if you live in a capitalistic system that is kind of really bought out by other countries because of inflation, because we're paying off debts from foreign countries, from borrowing money, and we're paying it as taxpayers, to be quite frank. And I think that is one thing solely killing the American dream. And it kills the American dream in a way that's like, dang, no matter how high you climb, there's almost some incentive to detach yourself from our tax system, and even wanting to be solidly sold on America being the end all be all because of that. And I understand why a billionaire wouldn't want to pay X amount of more dollars in taxes. He's like, yo, this tax money doesn't even go back to you guys. This tax money is paying off debts that you didn't even vote in certain laws for to borrow this money for a country that's no longer even yours. So I get that aspect. I get that argument. Not to say that that's law and that's true, but I get that argument. What do you guys think about that?
So that's a lot to break down.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just gonna pick a random portion. I guess the part where you said that Americans have to pay the debt because of inflation and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree there. That is kind of crazy to think about, but also it's kind of a reason behind a lot of that type of stuff too. I mean, there's things that we can avoid, like we can cut the military budget. We don't have to be paying the amount of money that we pay towards the military. That would be one thing. But then there's another thing. We should pay that type of money because we want to remain safe. So there's lots of different areas where we can do budget cuts and things like that. But once again, I'm not really sure that has to do much with my version or Rodney's version, like the definition of American dream. So I can't really speak too much further about that. I just wanted to give like a little
Right.
response to that little section.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think inflation is going to always exist because we're a country that loves helping people. We'll give $500 million to Saudi Arabia for no reason. Like they'll say it's for military budgeting for them, but why do we care about their military if we have our own? It's things like that. Like we'll give $200 million to Al Qaeda to train them to defeat their government, and then they turn against. It's a lot of different stuff that goes on. Like the inflation is going to always be here, regardless. And it was the same problem for our parents. It's just that inflation is increasing at a significant amount now, but that also has to do with us as a generation changing, where we feel like the government should be lending us more money. So it's one of those things. Like, think about it. Back in 1985, if they had COVID, do you really think that our government about to give out $1,200 checks, bro?
Absolutely not.
Well, if it was 1985, we certainly wasn't getting no $1,200 checks.
Yeah,
sure.
You talking about us? We're not getting nothing.
For sure.
We're gonna be a test dummy.
We get the vaccine though. We get the vaccine. I'm just keeping it real, but that's a whole nother podcast.
So it's like it's things like that. Like our generation, and we're leaning more towards. Now this is something I agree with, but I agree with it for my own selfish reasons. Like where they said cut college tuition and take away student loans. I love that because I got student loans. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time,
it's not even just that. You can go into a deeper tangent. Not that I want to weigh on this too much, but just the fact that like how heavily it was pushed and marketed. And it's easy to say you were an adult and you didn't have to do that when you had people around you who were educated enough to know what a loan was and what you were actually doing, borrowing money from the government. But there was millions, not a couple, millions of young Americans that they just did not have that ever in life. They did not cross that opportunity to even learn how detrimental that taking that money could be to them. And now they're stuck in this situation. It's a real thing. And I know for some of you viewers listening, it might be hard to understand if you had somebody that was able to inform you for that, or if you had somebody look out for you. But there are some people, they legitimately did not have an opportunity to learn that process before they were handed some money by Sally Mae. And before you know it, now they got a car note for the next 15 years, So,
but
that's why goes. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's why, because when you talked about having like the same opportunity, that's why I know that there's a vast amount of opportunities now out here for us to take advantage of, but I really think it goes back to education because, like I was saying, like if you're a millionaire, if you don't have no knowledge of how to spend $1 million, then what is it really doing for you? Like you could have $1 million and put it into something and it go under like a stock or something, or you might just blow it on shoes or whatever. Like if you don't have no real knowledge of how to spend the money, then is it really that useful to you? And I feel like if we talk about the same starting point or same opportunity or whatever, it don't really matter unless you have the knowledge or the education behind that to be able to utilize that opportunity. Because like that's why you talk about like college and things like this or whatever. Either college is going to teach you or your family, whoever's going to teach you. But if you don't have the means to be able to go to college, or if you come from a broken home or whatnot, how could you even obtain the knowledge to get to like a point where you could make money like that? Like, and there's a lot of people that are, and it's increasingly more as we evolve and, the gap gets wider, that you're going to get more and more people that are misinformed, or they just don't have the financial literacy to be able to, deal with those kind of things and make money for themselves, or, create something for themselves. Or even if we're going deeper, they might not even have the motivation to do that because they don't have nobody there. Like, we're speaking from a point of we have good support systems coupled with good, finances to an extent. I'm not saying we rich by any means, but we wasn't dirt poor, not like that. So we speaking from an advantageous standpoint where we had a good setup. We had a good starting point or whatever foundation. And I'm just trying to figure out like, how could somebody even realize what the American dream would be if they're not given that kind of starting point, or they don't have that kind of situation? I just don't see how you could even think about it.
I think that's a great question. I don't want that to die on deaf ears. What he just said there is like, how could you even comprehend what you want to know your American dream is, right? I think that one thing that makes that a easier process to go about, or even possible for some, is that we actually think about as a people, and it becomes more common and more, excuse me, household talk, that we talk about American independence. And most people, when you talk about even the phrase American independence, people start to think back in their old social studies books and the starting days of America and the Christopher Columbus stories. But think about the real foundation of this country and why we were even here in the first place. Not us as just African Americans, but just even the Europeans that came here was for independence. They wanted their own businesses, they wanted their own profits, their own money, their own system. And we went through a phase of having greatness with that, and then literally sold out our system from underneath ourselves. And I think that when we focus on independence and we have ownership of certain industries, from agriculture or whatever it might be you want to use as an example, you lend people who lack an opportunity to have greater education a opportunity to have an American dream, because they can then go work at the Ford dealership or GM, excuse me.
Okay.
And they can do 20 years at GM and have a pension like in the
But not
80s.
to
You get what I'm saying?
not to
And you
I get
gotta
what
be
you're
that
saying.
smart to do that. And you can raise a
But
whole family, but you can't do that today. You gotta
but
have
not to interrupt you, but I do want to say this.
Mhm.
So what do you tell somebody that, like, for one, what is independence? Is it innate or is it taught? Like, is that something that you just innately have to be independent, or is that something
I
that's
think
taught?
it's taught. And I think just to answer your question, like earlier too, I don't mean to cut you off, but
Oh
I'm gonna
God.
get this one out. Get this one out
No,
real
let's get
quick.
it.
How you were talking about the equality of opportunity. I think the opportunity is still there for every single person. So if there's a poor person or someone that didn't start in the same area that we started, there's still nothing that we have that they can't eventually obtain if they so choose to.
But
Now,
how do they go about getting that, like, a education, like awareness? How do they gain awareness?
So
you have to ask questions, and
it's more
those
than
going to be
that.
my answer. You
Yeah.
actually, so a lot of things that, this is what we talked about on our last podcast. You have to know what you want. Once you know what you want, you're going to start asking yourself the right questions. You're going to start asking other people the right questions. That opportunity is still there, because if it's a poor dude and then it's me that's rich, but he wants to be a millionaire and I want to do something else, and he asks himself the right questions, he can go reach out and ask other people those questions
So
and
you
become a
you have to
millionaire. And I
experience. So
can
you
become
have
a
to.
millionaire as well.
So you have, but that's experience though, because if you're talking to like a foster kid, like, what are you gonna tell? Like, how do they know what they want if they don't? If they in a foster house and they're not seeing people with money around them, all they seeing is
So
somebody that's in a bad situation like they are. They don't have nobody telling them, "Hey, you could have this potentially if you work for this, or if you learn this, you can do this." What do you like? How do they gain awareness? Like, I get what you're saying. It's basically through
my
experience, but
thing
if
is,
you're not,
I think it's this. I think it's the same way as like when we're
yeah.
younger and we're around all a bunch of drug dealers. I mean, yeah, we can become drug dealers, or we can have in our mind something else more we want in life. Now, I can't tell you how people figure out who they are, because you can't really do that. You don't know who you are, who you want to become, until you ask yourself. I don't know how to answer that question. But I
But
could have went on the same route as everybody else I know that's in my family and became a drug dealer.
I mean, you
That could
could
have
have, but
been.
you also had your mom, somebody that was there that was pushing you to
I
be
did.
better. So I'm saying,
so
I
what
did,
about
so
but I
people that
saw.
don't have that at all?
so
But
to that,
you look for it.
you can either A, look for it, or B, here's the second thing. And I'm a realist with this. Everybody can't win.
That's what I was saying
I
earlier.
need somebody to make the double
Y'all
cheeseburger at
terrible.
McDonald's. And I respect that person just as much. I
Y'all
need the high
terrible.
school janitor. I need somebody I can pay $20 to cut my grass, because I know damn well I'm grown. I'm not cutting grass. I'm not doing that.
But that might
Hey, you can say
be
whatever
their
you want to say,
American
people.
dream.
But like, yeah, and it might be theirs. But here's the thing. Here's my thing to that. Because everybody can't win, at one point in this country, it was at least independent enough of a country where you could go work, like my example earlier, you can go work at GM. Or I got family in Gary, and you guys are probably familiar with the steel mill. You can go work 20 years at the steel mill and retire. You took care of your whole family. Nobody in the household had to work. You put, food on the table. Everybody went to school, and you gave your kids the opportunity because you were allotted the opportunity through a capitalistic system to work in a $1 billion industry. And that's why it used to work. And today, where people who don't have necessarily ties to education or let's call it what it really is, the luck to have a mentor, somebody rub them the right way to put them in the right direction of guidance, they do not have that option to just go work their face off somewhere and have a pension or retire or even make enough to make a living on their own. It's just not really feasible. It's not too many jobs and industries, and that's because we're not independent of a country anymore. We don't have that. Everything is sourced
But
out.
that's why I say, though, that's why my American dream is really, I feel like in the scenario I'm talking about, somebody that's less fortunate, you might not have these opportunities, whatever. That's why I don't think it necessarily has to be monetarily, especially not right at the moment. And I feel like that American dream is interchangeable. It is forever something that's malleable. It changes. So that's why. So let's say somebody's in that situation. You might not have access to learn about financial literacy. You might not have access to get, certain job or whatever. Well, maybe their American dream is, all right, well, I'm going to focus on myself so I can get healthy or whatever and feel better about myself first or whatever. Because all types of stuff be happening. Maybe they got to feel better about themselves because they getting bullied or picked on or beat up or something. So I got to, get my body right. All right, now I got to get my mind right. Like you're saying, which I'm glad you guys brought that up. Hopefully people will get to a point where they want to learn and they want to know more. So you start asking. Now, even with that, there's no guarantee you're going to come into the right person that's going to teach you what you need to know, but you're at least giving yourself the opportunity for that to happen. So I do agree with y'all to that extent. But yeah, I don't think it always necessarily has to be money, but I know with the society that we're in, and I know what you're talking about, Jay, if we're talking about the societal American dream, it's always going to be tied to capitalism. It's always going to be tied to American dollar. That's just how this, that's how this stuff works. But I feel like it can change for whoever, and it changes when it needs to change.
I could not agree more. I think we pretty much have the same definition.
Yeah.
Like what we said earlier. I think so. I can't even sit here and cap and say that I can and I can't. I'm going to play both sides. I'm going to play the other side with the equal opportunity thing. So, for example, Black people, we don't have the same opportunity as a white person all the time. I can't sit here and say that we don't, because sometimes we do.
Right.
But sometimes a white person has a clear head start than us, and they get different opportunities based off of that head start. That is to be true. I cannot disagree there. So when you're saying the equal opportunity thing, I hear exactly where you're coming from. But I think my argument is that you can attain the same opportunity as that white person if you do the necessary steps. So if you have the necessary work ethic, you have the necessary curiousness in your mind, you can have the same type of opportunities as the white person. Now, will you have the same outcome? I'm not totally sure, but that's not really an argument because equal outcome, that is significantly different. I don't know if our viewers know what that means. So the equality of opportunity is everybody being able to attain something that they so want to attain. And then the equality of outcome is the people that are more fortunate, they get stuff taken away from them so that the people that are less fortunate can be pushed up. I don't think there's no such thing as equality of opportunity with the American dream. If you look at it that way, then hell no, my bad. Then the American dream is finito. I can agree there, but I don't see it that way. I see it as equality of opportunity. I think our generation, though, does see it as equality of outcome, but I'm not one of those people because, if you work your behind off, you can achieve anything you so choose to, and I don't believe in always needing a handout or always needing help, as we know.
So
I get it.
I think that as far as like our personal American dream, we all agree on individuality being a key factor in you having the power to guide yourself asking questions.
Yeah.
Now,
absolutely.
With everything we talked about, because we're pretty much on the same page with that, I really want to break down before we wrap it up. What is you guys' perspective on our generation with the entitlement of having things that other people have and not having that work ethic. Where do you guys, one, I'm gonna ask, where do you think it came from? And then two, how do you think it affects you as individually, or does it even affect you? Because I think it personally affects me, and I'd be curious to see if it's anybody out there that they feel like that doesn't affect them really. So how do you guys feel about that? Let's start with you, Rob.
Okay, so hold
Nah,
on. I
you
want to
go.
answer
Go.
something from
Okay.
the no, you're starting. I want to answer a question that you said like earlier
Yeah.
about that the opportunity and things like that aren't the same. Like you can, as a grandpa, you can take control of your entire family by you just having a job. It just popped up in my mind, so I just want to get it off.
Sure.
So I think the reason behind something like that is because we're not really in control as people anymore. So, and that could go into kind of what you were saying, Rodney, about some people not necessarily having the same opportunity. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't have the same opportunity because a lot of people don't even communicate anymore. As
Right.
humans, we don't really communicate anymore. We're so blocked off by a phone, and we're so blocked off by all these other things that are happening in society that wasn't happening back then. So you can't really learn how to be independent from your dad or from your mom because there's something in front of you that's blocking you from even listening to them, blocking you from asking questions. It's like Albert Einstein said, like, sometimes I don't know the exact words, but like sometimes you have to be bored, and that's when the best ideas come out. We don't have a generation right now where we're bored with anything. So it's not
Right.
going to be something where I'm like, I need to ask this question to see how I can achieve this. I need to ask this question to see how I can achieve that. Because before I can even think about asking that question or having something pop in my mind, I just get on Facebook and now I'm not bored no more. So I think a lot of our problems and issues with our society now, with the American dream, independency, opportunity, want more for ourselves, has to do with a lot of the distractions that we have.
I'll
But
give you that.
you can go back to that.
No, I'll give you that, and I'm gonna just add to that. I think another thing is, and since we're in the age of information, I feel like us as a society, because it was always a naturally competitive society, but I feel like even with the age of information, it's almost like that's been heightened because it's the
Yeah,
fact that you can go and do it yourself, so you should. So people are less, I feel
I
like,
feel that.
prone to help you out or whatever. Just like if we talking about like markets and all that stuff, man, like especially when you start talking about like them outsourcing jobs and trying to find like best ways to cut costs and all that, they taking the elite level people at their position and everybody else is falling to the wayside. And the thing is, we not trying to help you either. Like that's what I'm saying. Like
That's a fact.
it's just getting more and more competitive, but I feel like that has a lot to do with, like you saying, you talking about phones and all these other distractions. All this stuff is information that could be used, but unless you know how to make it you like work to your advantage, then it's almost like a detriment to you.
Facts. I love that. Yeah, I agree.
Never thought about it that way. Yeah. So
Yeah. So
one thing,
back to your question.
yeah. So one thing
Repeat it one more time for us.
I really want to get out of you guys is really the second part of that question. So do you feel like this is something in your day to day that hinders things that you're able to do or the way you're able to communicate and connect with people? The fact that there's so many people that feel this entitlement to have a certain lifestyle or be a certain person. So for example, I feel like in my day to day, I speak to a lot of people that have this entitlement to have a certain degree of respect or a certain type of treatment when they haven't done any work to put themselves inside of that type of place. And I think that like because of things like the phone or social media and things of that nature, people feel like they are a lot more bigger
Yeah.
and doing bigger things than what they really are, and they're not able
Yep.
to condense that behavior and really just be themselves. Like just
Yep.
calm down, put all the theatrics away, be yourself, and I don't think you can focus on you until you be yourself. And I feel like I'm not dealing with real people. You guys ever get that feeling now in this day and age?
I get that feeling a lot, and I actually was just talking about that. Yeah, we're definitely in the age where people feel entitled to things, especially when they haven't put the work in. And the biggest thing that irks me the most is when people. It's almost like you want to show that you're doing the work, but you're not doing the work. So like
Yes.
everybody wants to hop to social media and put up a TikTok or put up a Facebook Instagram story, Snap, or whatever that they doing the work. Oh, I'm in the gym doing this or whatever, or I'm going here or whatever. But you're not actually grinding like you should. Because if you were, what is you posting all this stuff on the thing for? And I'm not saying that you can't do it without doing that, but it's almost like it's a facade because you meet these people in real life and you're nothing like this. Like all this stuff that you're doing is for show. And I just feel like that's why I say it's an instrument. Now, whether you're going to use it to your advantage or not, that's completely on you. But you just get caught up in the fact that you can see everybody else's fake life, and now you assess your life based off something that might not even necessarily be real, and that causes you to not work as hard. Or, I mean, for me, it causes me to work hard because I'm not just saying like I look on people's stuff and be like, oh, I need to get that or whatever. But if I do see something that I genuinely be like, dang, I could probably have that or I want that, I am going to go out and work like that. Now, I'm not going to put it up and show you, oh, I'm working toward it, because I don't feel like I need to do that personally. But I know that some people, with this invention that have grown up with it, like we grew up with it, but we know an era before all these things, before like all this mass information and social media and all this other stuff. So it's like we're two sides of a coin. But people growing up with it, some people do know how to utilize that. Some people do know how to make the most out of these things. So, but the entitlement thing, I don't think you entitled to nothing. Like don't nobody owe you nothing.
Fendi is fact.
Like life don't owe you shit. Don't nobody owe you shit. Yeah, I think
Jay mentioned it earlier, even before we got to this part, but he talked about entitlement to opportunity and that not being something that, or not opportunity, excuse me, outcome, and that not being something that should be real and isn't real. People are going to have different outcomes based off their work ethic, but I think that personally today, people do feel a strong sense of entitlement to a certain outcome. Like we all have to share the same experience, and to the point where like it's like now we can't even have different opinions because your opinion is affecting how I feel. And it's like, yo, like people, we not just disagree. We disagree. All three of us disagree all the goddamn time. And we can call each other anytime and still talk about something else. But
right.
Like, people are at war like with that now. So Jay, I think you could probably speak on this perspective a lot because you already hinted some towards it. How do you feel about people nowadays feeling that entitlement to different outcomes, and where do you think that comes from?
I can't begin to tell you where it comes from. Besides
wow,
what I had already, besides what I had already established earlier about starting when you're younger with the participation trophies and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could be honest, my mom ain't never told me if I lost at something or we ain't do good, son, you'll be okay. You're still number. My mom's never done that. I'm not gonna lie. So maybe that's why my mind don't think that way. And even growing up, I've never done something bad and somebody told me I did something good. Like there was a good outcome from that. And I think that's kind of trained my mind to be a certain way because
right.
a lot of our generation did grow up that way where you get a participation trophy, you get this, you get that, you get all this reassurance that exactly what you're doing is exactly how it should be. And that type of stuff just don't make sense to me. And then when you grow up and you talk to somebody that thinks they just deserve everything without putting in no work, you know what it does to me? It don't make sense. Like it just don't. How you gonna tell? Think about this. Like, I'm about to ask a real question. So if you're young and let's say it's y'all kids, your son just got ran, bro. Like he just lost 35-2.
Mm-hmm.
35-2, bro. He lost 35-2 in a basketball game, bro. You gonna walk up to him and you gonna tell him, son, it's good. You don't need to change nothing.
No,
you're still
I'm not gonna tell him he sucks, but absolutely, I'm gonna tell him, yo, if you don't like that feeling, you're gonna have to work hard not to have it happen again.
That's exactly what you should be saying. You shouldn't tell nobody they suck, but you should tell them the honest advice. And that's what we're not getting right now.
It really depends what type of kid he is too. Because if he's a little cocky, I'm not gonna lie, just be my kids. If you act cocky before and you got busted by that gap, Yeah, you need to pick something else. You was
Or you can just
confident with
make
that?
it. You're gonna make them do better.
You was
But
confident with that,
now let's ask a grown man.
Might not be my son.
Let's ask a grown man if he in the position of wanting something in life. He wants what Rodney has right now.
Yeah.
And I say, and basically he get bust in life. He losing 30-2, but he still think he deserve exactly what Rodney has.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell him right now? You gonna tell him, oh, it's okay, man. Continue doing whatever you want to do. It'll be okay. You'll get what you want in life. No, you about to, bro, you're not putting in this work. You're not doing this. You're not doing this. If you want this, you have to do this. And I think it starts young. You got to tell them, you got to do this, you got to do that. Because if you grew up expecting that even if you do bad in life, you get anything you want, you're going to grow old thinking even if you do bad in life, you're going to get anything you want. So I think it starts there. And the
That's
next
pretty
question
bad
was,
habits.
does it affect me? Yeah. The next question was, does it affect me? I'm going to make this quick and simple. No, it does not. I don't care. I don't care what nobody else do with their life or anything like that. I don't look at nobody and get real inspiration unless I know they actually putting in work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really a social influencer where I'm like, man, this dude right here, I just know, I see his pictures and I just love what he doing. No, like there's certain people that I look up to, and most of them are people that I know, like where I can touch them, and everybody else really don't matter to me. You got like the Jordan Peterson, you got the Steph Currys, but we know all these people are rich. They not hiding behind no wall. We know that. We can look this up and see it. So that's my opinion on it.
Ryan, what about you?
What
You
is
feel like
yours
that
though?
affects? So I would tell
You ain't said no. What's yours?
my opinion is like it does affect me a little bit, but it affects me because I let it affect me. I'm not saying that's right. That's just me being transparent and honest. It affects me because it annoys me so bad. And I shouldn't even let it but if I have to be real, it really, really, really does bother me because I think about it like this. Sometimes I feel like I do know a little bit of where that entitlement to equal outcomes come from. I feel like there's some people who either have been raised where they're plugged in into the matrix of the iPhone and the new Samsung so much that all of their influence is from people they don't know. So all the people they look up to is from people they don't know, and they're simply just blind following people they never spoke to in person, don't know how they got their start, don't know if it's real, and they don't have anybody around them that they're choosing to be a true mentor. And sometimes it's really sad because in some cases these people actually have good, solid people around them that they could be looking to for information, but they choose to neglect that and not acknowledge that person's success because they do not have 1.1 million followers. I think that's a damn problem. That's just me.
Yeah,
and then the
man,
second part is it blows my mind that the internet has really given insecure people such a powerful voice that they can make comparisons to their community fighting for justices such as some parts of the Black community. I won't speak for all of the Black community, but as some parts of the Black community has fighting for equal opportunity and equality, at least having the opportunity, and they kind of attach themselves to that party
I thought this boy's gonna go off the edge
based off their insecurities. And I feel like that whenever somebody nowadays has an insecurity, they just latch on to the internet and spew it out into the air, and they say, well, I identify as having this insecurity, and everyone on the internet is a problem if you do not agree with me. And it's like, what if I just don't understand and it's not my lane to say anything, and they still treat you like you're the problem? It's just, I don't know. I'm not educated. It's not my lane. I don't deal with it. I'm sorry. You got to fight for your own footing in this race. But to try to pull people down and make people feel like they have to agree with you because of your insecurities is just crazy to me. And I don't think it was like that before, like, we got heavily invested into this. So as you can see, it bothers me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bro, you getting hot. I thought you was about to go deep in, bro. When you said the Black Lives stuff, I thought you was about to say some Black Lives Matter stuff. I was gonna say, bro, you about to have our comment section on fire.
Nah, it's a whole nother podcast.
Man, bro. They was about to, we're never watching this show. Those 3 black guys are there. Bro, we was about to be sick.
Hey, we did drop a Malcolm X quote earlier, though. You can't separate peace from freedom because no one can be at peace unless he's free. Come on now. We got the book right back there. Stop playing with us.
We love all our races, so don't get on our heels. Black people don't get on our heels. White people or Mexican, we love all y'all.
Hey, you know, smooth. I'm old school. You can get on my heels, and it is what it is. We ain't gotta agree.
No, you gotta. I'm saying be smooth because we gonna swiftly defend ourselves.
Oh yeah, we gonna be be smooth. I'm just not finna lie to you. Like I agree. If I don't agree, I don't agree. If I don't understand, I don't understand.
Facts. You know? Yeah, we know that. We know that for sure. What else do we want to discuss?
Man, I think we got to a big bulk of. We had a great conversation, and I even learned some new perspective on just other people's view of the American dream, which I love to talk about with other people because no matter what, America is all of us. This country belongs to all of us. All of us is what makes it. Our efforts, everything we bring, especially us as Black people, the swagger we bring, y'all gotta acknowledge that. The culture we bring, we all make America, and we make America great. And the way to stay independent and keep that greatness going is talking about the American dream and making sure we doing a self audit as Americans to keep our country going, man. Because this is our place now. Like it or not, this is where we at, and we got to support it, baby.
That's a Fendiest fact right there. Hey, well, good episode, fellas. Y'all know how we end this. This is my favorite part, man. Y'all know I love saying that. They probably know what's coming out of my mouth every time. But we like to end every episode with some advice. So what advice do you got for us today? Calling you out, Rod.
So you see the brand?
Nike. Swoosh, okay.
Just do it, baby. That's it. That's all I
got. Bro, hey, my dumb ass about to say get buckets. What?
Bro, I'm thinking he was about to say something. I thought this man was breaking news. Like that was his clothing line for a second.
Yeah, bro. I'm waiting like a motherfucker.
Because I ain't gonna lie. That jacket hard.
That is hard as hell, back, though.
Bro, with the two Nikes.
Yeah, he paid $85 at Dick's Sporting Goods for that.
Bro, I thought that was Rodney Abloh special. Bro, I thought he was about to tell us something. Boy.
Hell no.
All right, man. So the advice I got for us today is just keep going. Similar to the just do it. We all gonna come like that today. Because this American dream topic is something where you just gotta do it. You just gotta ask the right questions. You just gotta step out of your comfort zone, and you just gotta keep going. You gotta keep working hard, and you'll achieve whatever your version of success is as long as you're putting in the work and you're adding that work ethic. And also my secondary advice, because I don't want to just basically copy him, is if you want to reach this certain expectation that you have for yourself and you're not there yet, it's pretty obvious that you need to increase your work ethic to achieve that. So either lower your expectations to match your work ethic or increase your work ethic to match your expectations. And that's all I got for y'all.
Hey, I like that. And last but not least, guys, I think they said it well enough. You guys heard some facts and some opinion about why the American dream is still alive. What do you believe? Let us know in the comment section. For the most part, I think we all agree that it is. And for those that are believers, that do believe, I hate saying that believers stuff, like I'm talking about Justin Bieber, but for those that are believers,
you think he about to slide through and not tell his advice?
Yeah, I'm telling it right now.
I was about to say, boy.
For those that do believe
sending us out
in the American dream, stay focused on knowing that this belongs to us. We are all one, and we are what makes us great. I know in these times, America
great again.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Hey, I didn't say that. In these times, like I was saying,
about to get canceled.
Woo!
Yeah, about to get
yeah, we finna be on Black Twitter.
Hey, as y'all can see, I'm trying to get my jokes off. So I've been cracking a lot of jokes and interrupting a lot of people. I think our podcast need to loosen up. So this the new us. Anyways, make America great again.
2022, huh?
Nah, let me stop playing. I ain't with that.
We crack a lot of jokes. I don't know about that one. I apologize for my. No, I'm not gonna say that. That'll really get canceled. Anyway, all of us, we all collectively, on a serious note, we make America great, and this is our country, and we have to behave in that fashion. We have to be able to acknowledge that the opportunity is still alive and take advantage of that, and not depend on our country being optimized towards capitalism 100% all the time to have any success within life. And we can look at a lot of people who are doing it now, from the mega giants like Elon Musk, all the way down to the guys who just did it with social media, like Gary Vee, he's killing it with garage sales. The dude's always on your phone, no matter what your opinion is of him. He's always hustling. He's always finding a platform to hustle on. So there's so many people we can learn from. But most of all, make sure that you acknowledge and give your flowers to the people next to you and ask them questions. Because a lot of people right next to you look in the eye every single day that you don't acknowledge the hard work and everything they bring to the table. You could be learning everything from. So keep that in mind.
I don't learn nothing from y'all. Y'all not getting no flowers from me. Keep it a buck.
Y'all,
get this guy.
Hey, cap in. Act like
my boys, man. I want to give y'all flowers. My boy Jay, man, you didn't taught me a lot. My boy Rod, you didn't taught me a lot. And I want to say something. I think that you got to treat life. You got to be a little bit more fun in life, and you got to not always be so willing to give your point across where you can't hear somebody else's. And that's why I love our podcast. And I do want to give y'all flowers because sometimes it's all of us. We're real stern on what we think is right and what we think is wrong, but it's never to the point where I can't hear what Rodney's saying or I can't hear what you're saying. And that's why I actually enjoy doing this. It's not about
except for
money one day or anything like that. I just love it because of y'all.
Talk to this man about Chipotle being better than Qdoba, which Chipotle is better than Qdoba.
Cap.
Better than Qdoba.
Cap.
Fresh.
Cap. All right, y'all.